Welcome to Girls on Fire ATX. I'm your host, Samantha.
And I'm your host, Esther.
What's up, girl?
I'm sorry for that little commentary in the beginning of the episode. I'm trying to figure out how to do this all by myself.
I think
while we wait for Tyler.
I know. I think the greatest thing is like learning right now, because I definitely, when people ask me like, oh, do you guys do it on your own, or if you guys go to a studio, and I'm like, well, we were at a studio and now we're like trying to figure it out on our own. It's really like aging me, because I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now.
I have no idea. I'm still learning every day. I'm like, shit, is this what I'm supposed to do? Like, blah, blah, blah. Because like right now I'm trying to learn how to edit videos since I'm actually going back home in 2 weeks.
Right.
I think that's 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Because I'm going to film my dad.
Okay.
Like, so I bought this video camera, and I want to basically sit down with my dad and ask him questions about his life and have it recorded so that if anybody is ever curious about who he is as a human being, they have this video to look at, and it's him telling his story, and it's not from a second party.
Okay.
I saw it on Facebook, and I thought it was good.
If I ever try to go to my dad and do that, he'd probably be like, what the fuck are you wanting me to do? I don't want to do that.
Well, I'm doing it for my dad and for my Nana Carmen. She's not blood, but she was a very like impactful person for my sister and I.
Okay.
Because let me tell you, she came from Mexico, and she, like, this was like almost 30 years ago. She was the person that would bring in other nurses from Mexico. And I guess you could say she did it illegally. But, like, these nurses wanted to better their lives, so they went to my Nana Carmen. And she, like, would bring them to the States. She would figure out a way to bring them to the States. That's how she brought my mom across from the States, because my mom was a nurse. And so she helped bring my mother to the States by, like, I don't want to get you in trouble, but, like, she's in her 80s at this point. I don't know if, like, she can get legal trouble, but
yeah.
Back then, like, my mom's a U.S. citizen now, but back then she had my mom marry her son, and that's how they came across.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And then.
Hey, I mean, people had to do what they had to do.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
She's, like, the toughest broad I think I've ever met in my entire life. Like, I'm very honored to have had her.
Well, that's where you get it from.
Yeah. She always makes fun of me, though, because, like, every time I see her, she's always like, so, you got a boyfriend? And I'm like, no, nah. And she's like, do you know how to cook yet? I'd be like, no, nah. Well, you better learn how to cook if you want a man. I'm like, no, not in this age. But thank you.
And maybe that's why my mom taught me to cook so young.
My mom is a phenomenal cook, but she never taught me how to cook because I was really annoying. So, like, I asked a lot of questions. So when she'd be cooking, she never had a recipe book. She just, like... And I'd sit there and I'd be like, what are you doing? What's that? What are you adding? Why are you adding that? And she'd be like, oh, like, go away.
Yeah.
So I never really learned.
No, my mom, it was like once I was tall enough to reach the counters, I was washing dishes, cooking, and doing laundry. So,
okay. Well, you were the oldest, right?
Yes.
So you were like basically like in charge of your siblings.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
She had to teach you to help her out.
Right.
But I do want to talk about, like, because both of our mothers are really strong women for basically essentially being, like, single mothers. Like, I know our dads were in our lives, but, like, I don't know what it's like to be a mother. I know you know because you're a mother.
I am.
And with everything that's going on, especially in today's day and age.
Today in Texas, because I don't know if any of you listeners out there who have seen what the fabulous trash bag Governor Abbott has done recently. But I will read something that I read yesterday. It says, Texas Governor Abbott just signed a law to ban abortion as early as 6 weeks before many women even know they're pregnant. No exceptions for rape or incest. And anyone can sue anyone who aids and abets the abortion. So the provider, the front desk staff, the person that drives you to the abortion clinic. Courts have blocked the 6-week abortion bans elsewhere, but GOP is trying to decentralize enforcement in Texas that allows almost anyone to sue those who aid and abet the abortion. So for those of you that don't really know anything about pregnancy, I didn't find out I was pregnant until I was 12 weeks pregnant. Now, had this law been in effect, or what this bill, this whatever, been into effect back when I got pregnant and I wasn't ready to have a child, there wouldn't have been I would have been forced to have a child that I wasn't ready for. Now, mind you, in my mind at that time, I thought I was ready to have a child. So, of course, I went through with the pregnancy. But as a 32-year-old woman now, knowing what it's like to raise a child as a single parent, and when I say single parent, I simply mean that the father and I were not together. We did not live under the same roof. So when it came to childcare, I had her X amount of days. He had her, whatever days he had her, and so when you don't have someone there 24/7, like a husband, someone that you live with, or a 24/7 care nanny, which is nearly impossible to afford, it's fucking hard. So even as a bartender in Tampa at 23 years old with a newborn child, I was still on Medicaid. I was still getting food stamps. I was getting WIC. I was getting, there's another one. I can't think of what it's called right now. But I was getting all of the things, and it still wasn't enough for me to take care of this child by myself. And I quickly learned why your parents tell you to wait and tell you to be married and tell you to, try to be as financially ready as possible, even though I don't necessarily believe that you can be financially ready. But at the same time, you can be financially ready in the sense that, like, you have money saved up and like, what diapers cost and all this stuff. There's nothing worse than you not being able to feed yourself because you have to feed your child. Like, being in those situations, I can't imagine. And the first thing that went through my head when I saw this bill being, like, discussed and passed is, like, fuck our rights for a minute, right? It's fine, whatever. We have to accept at this point that this is going to happen and that this is happening. My mind instantly went to the 16-year-old girl who gets pregnant because whatever reason. I get it. People are going to be like, oh, well, then don't have sex, or, oh, use a condom, or, oh, use birth control. Well, what about the people that don't have families that can afford healthcare? What about the people who are naive and unfortunately don't have, like, what if their parents don't believe in that kind of stuff and don't teach their children because they weren't taught it and they don't believe in those things? So now, you know what I'm saying? Like, people, there's going to be young kids that get pregnant, and now you're telling women that we don't have a choice to say no to that because we weren't ready, and now you're going to force people to have babies who aren't ready. The only thing that I predict happening now is women dying because they're doing at-home abortions, or women killing themselves because they're not ready to have a child and they're depressed and they're not ready, or women throwing their babies in the trash can because they don't want them, or them dropping them off at the fire station. The amount of babies that are going to go up for adoption, I 100% believe that the foster care rate is going to fucking skyrocket. How many horrible stories have you heard about foster care children? Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the things that are going through my mind. Like, you're expecting now, are you going to offer free healthcare? Are you going to offer free women's health, or a free birth control, free diapers, free formula, free, what is it that you're going to provide for the people that are now going to have no choice but to have a child when they're not ready to have a child?
The reason why this really hits home for me, and I'm going to tell a story, I have to be careful how I word it because I didn't really technically ask for permission, but I feel like y'all can get a general idea. Those that are close to me know this story. But there was this woman that was in Mexico, and she was on this cruise ship. Now, is this true? Is this story true? I don't know. It's still a mystery, but this is what I was told. They're on a cruise ship, right? And they were with, like, a bunch of doctors, and they were on this cruise ship, and they had gone to basically go and help, like, third world countries, I believe is what I was told. 2 nurses go missing, okay? I don't know how to word this. Okay. One of the nurses was looking for one of the nurses that was missing. Mm-hmm. And we'll call her Susie. Susie was looking for
Amy,
yeah. Amy was one of the nurses that was missing. So Susie was going around going, hey, have you guys seen Amy? Where's Amy? Like, blah, blah, blah. And where's Marty? Where's Marty and Amy? Like, why are they gone missing? Susie took it upon herself when they had docked back into like the original where they had set off to go look for Susie by going to her hometown, going to her house and everything. When she finally found Susie, she asked what happened, and Susie wouldn't mutter a word. All she said was that she wanted to come to the United States. She's like, please help me. Please help me go to the United States. She's like, all right, I will help you. And she was like, what about Marty? And they were trying to figure out what had happened to Marty and Amy. Fast forward, Susie's in the United States. She's working at a restaurant. She doesn't speak English, and comes to find out these cramps that she's having, she's in labor. She goes to the hospital, and Susie's there. Yeah, Susie's there basically trying to help Amy, going like, hey, what's going on? Maybe I confused the two.
It's okay, but I got what
But
you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. So basically, she's in labor, and their doctors are like, hey, this lady does not want to give birth.
Mm-hmm.
This lady does not want to give birth. And they're like, well, why? They're like, usually when it comes to this, it's basically a product of assault, rape, or, God knows what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it was an unwanted pregnancy. She ends up having the baby. She doesn't really want the baby. I don't really know if she didn't want the baby. I just know that she had very massive postpartum depression. Now, for me personally, I've watched what having an unwanted pregnancy can do to a person, especially a human being that didn't ask to be here, but it is now here and constantly reminded and constantly having that weight on her shoulder.
Yep.
Now, in the Mexican culture, it is not like, it's very frowned upon to have abortions. And this story is a very personal story and that hits home. And for those of you that are listening, maybe you can kind of grasp what I'm saying. But for someone, if she wanted the option to have like basically an abortion, she should have every right to.
Yeah, it's our body at the end of the day.
Yes. And for a long time, I used to get mad at my own parents for not having an abortion because I didn't think that two people were ready to have a kid. Emotionally, they weren't there for me. Like physically, they weren't really there for me. It was just, no kid should have suicidal thoughts because she felt unloved.
No.
And it's like, I hate that a man wants to sit there and be like, no, I'm not going to, like, no for abortions.
At the end of the day,
think about that kid.
I know. And at the end of the day, like, it's not just Governor Abbott. It's all the people that agreed to pass this. It's the people that sat at a table and thought, you know what? Today, let's take away women's rights. Let's take away their option to choose. I think that is literally mind-blowing. I can't, like, you just set us back 20 years. Literally 20 years, you just set us back. For what? What do you gain from this, bro? Like, it breaks my heart because there are so many, we already have a society of people who are living off of the government because they can't afford to live. Well, all you're doing by doing this is causing thousands more people to need government assistance because it is fucking impossible to raise a child on a single person income. It's fucking impossible. Without having to give things up, like up until Sage was probably almost 5, I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. Sage had the actual bedroom, and my bed was in the living room because I couldn't afford an actual apartment big enough for each of us to have our own room. And even when I finally did get into a 2-bedroom apartment, I was struggling. I literally lived week to week because it was like rent, groceries, or like anything. I was literally having to pick bills to pay just to have her own space and me have a room. Because it is impossible to have a single person income and raise a child. Right. It's fucking impossible. So it's like you're going to go and you're going to make it so that children who unfortunately are having babies, who shouldn't be having babies, you're now going to make it so that they can't not have babies. So many things went through my mind yesterday when I saw this, and I was talking to my sister and I cried because it was just like, I know how hard it was for me to raise Sage, and I was 23 and I thought I was grown. I can't imagine being 16 and having a baby and What happens if that girl's parents disown her because they don't think that she should have a kid, which fucking happens. Like, I can't grasp, like, these women going through this. And all for what? For what? You're going to take away someone's right to not have a child when they physically know that they're not ready? You're going to go make a woman have to go seek an abortion from somewhere that's probably unsafe because you want to take away her fucking right?
I think this all ties back to the 97% because, like, literally 97% of women are sexually assaulted. Yeah. We're, like, basically pray for these men, and they don't get it. Like, why don't women have more health care? Why don't we have, like, free therapy to deal with all this fucking trauma that we get to deal with? Like, I didn't ask to go down the street so that I could just take my mail and get hollered at by 3 dudes.
I can't even walk through the fucking grocery store without someone making a sexual comment to me. The fucking grocery store. I was literally in the store the other day, and this guy walks up to me, and I usually, like, some people know this about me, and I try to be on the phone when I'm in the grocery store so that no one will bother me, or I put my headphones in and I'm listening to music so that if people try to talk to me, I can't hear them. And I just, like, can use that as an excuse, which I shouldn't have to, as to why I didn't hear them. And I was in the grocery store the other day, and someone who actually, like, knew me said hi, and I was like, and it's funny because at first he's like, hey, what's up? And I didn't even turn my head. And then he said my name, so of course I turned. And then I was like, oh, hey, what's up? Later on, I get a message in my Instagram. Oh, with all due respect, you and your booty looked good. With all due respect, you think by just saying that it allows you to make a comment about my ass? Like, what? That's not respect whatsoever. Like, keep that comment to yourself. Like, I was like, what am I supposed to say to that?
Wow. There's really not much to say, but, like, I mean, I know a lot of girls can relate to, like, the unwanted.
It just made me uncomfortable. It made me feel like, okay, so what am I supposed to wear at the grocery store to where people won't make comments about my body? They won't sexualize me. What am I supposed to wear, a fucking muumuu? Like, right. I literally was in my gym clothes because I had just left the gym.
But what if, that person had taken you out into the parking lot and raped you and you got pregnant and now you can't do anything about it?
That I think in this whole scheme of, like, whatever this is, apparently it's supposed to pass in September. That is what really gets me. It says there are no exceptions for incest or rape. I'm sorry, what? So
if my brother rapes me and I get pregnant with his kid, I have to have that baby, but not... Okay, think about it like this. Like, I have been sexually assaulted. It is very traumatizing nonetheless. I don't want to say the word fortunately. I have never gone pregnant off of it, but I don't know how else to word that without... I don't know the proper way to word that. So please bear with me when I'm not trying to say it in a disrespectful manner. But I've seen people that have been brought into this world by an unwanted pregnancy, and I've seen how psychologically that has really affected them. 100%. So let's say I get pregnant by my brother, right? And now I have to have that baby. Do you know how psychologically fucked up that kid's gonna be? Yeah. Are they gonna offer me like a psychiatrist and a therapist?
How do you explain to your child? Yeah, how do you explain to the child, so normally you don't have sex with your sister and brother because that's not only incest and against the law and disgusting and completely frowned upon, it can also cause abnormalities as well as, but by the way, your dad is my brother. It's your uncle. The fuck? Like, I really would love to hear their side of this. I would love to know why they think this is right.
I don't agree with it at all because it's like right here, like the hashtag not all men.
Yeah.
We know it's not all men, but like every single fucking woman has a goddamn story. We're told do not walk home alone, walk in well-lit areas, don't react, pepper spray, go with male friends, stay in a group, don't get too drunk. Share your location. Don't wear that. Hold your key in between your fingers. Avoid eye contact. You know,
I mean, we were having this conversation on one of our on an episode recently. You know, the steps that we go through to go on a date with someone new. Like,
it's not you can pick me up in my car. It's like, I'll meet you there.
Yeah, no, I'm going to meet you there. I'm going to tell my friends where I'm going. I'm going to check in halfway through the reservation or the dinner or whatever it is. I'm going to go to the bathroom and call my friend or text and be like, hey, it's going well. I'm good. Or, hey, it's not going so well. Can you text me in 15 minutes and say there's an emergency? You know, and then I have to worry about, okay, when we walk to my car, are you going to try to force yourself on me to kiss me? And it's like, I don't want to, like, no, like, those things shouldn't be expected. And, you know, it's just a whole, and then I have to worry about, okay, well, what if the date didn't go well? And now I have to reject you. How mad are you going to be about it? And how mean are you going to be to me? Like, you know how many times that's happened? How many times I've had a guy be an asshole to me because I was like, I really appreciate you taking me out, but there's not, you know, I don't have any connection with you. And then they lose their fucking mind.
It's bullshit. But I want to say maybe something to relate to our younger audience. Have you heard anything about like the David Dobrik, Duarte Dom scenario?
Yeah.
Situation?
Mm-hmm.
So I have it written down, and I wrote down all the red flags because I know when I was in college, I was put in a lot of fucking situations that are very similar to this girl.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, so if you don't know anything about like the David Dobrik situation, basically he's gotten a lot of freaking backlash because, how do I word this? Basically, they were filming a vlog, and they basically took these underage girls and got them super intoxicated, and basically they got sexually assaulted, and they had it recorded. And all the red flags that I'm going to point out in this video that I had written down was, first of all, this video had 5 million views. So that's 5 million people that watched this girl get like literally sexually assaulted on camera for clout. So they named the footage threesome, okay? And when they basically everything like started to basically come to light about this, when people started interviewing it, trying to like interview Duarte, I don't even know his fucking name, but I'm going to call him DD because, I don't even really think that we should even like give him a name. But he basically, when they were trying to do interview, like when Insider like tried to do an interview, because Insider is the one that published this like long article about it and literally like went after them, like literally exploited them. He never wanted to talk about the vlog squad, but always wanted to talk about his own achievements. So obviously that to me tells me that he's very egotistical. Yeah. But he was caught on camera saying, I invited these 3 girls to try to have a fivesome. So already the initial like reaction of inviting these girls that they met on Snapchat was to fuck them without even asking them if it was okay with them. But, because they're in the vlog squad, you should feel honored to hang out with me. You should feel honored to be around me. But we have other motives. We have other intentions, but we're not going to explain that to you. Okay. All those girls wanted to do from their perspective was they wanted to hang out. And the girl that actually like came forward to say it, she honestly didn't really know them. But you can hear this guy named, I don't remember his name, but his like something Nash, Jason Nash is his name. But on video, you can hear him basically when they're like, we don't really know who you guys are. He basically was like, get the fuck out, jokingly. But I think he was pretty serious because, you know, everyone's always a little serious when they make a joke.
Yeah.
But after a couple minutes, it was clear that there was literally no fivesome happening. By some stroke of luck and master negotiating, Dom made progress. I quote, that was said in the video by David Dobrik, okay? The girls, when they were talking about this video, they were saying that they felt a lot of pressure, like that basically they had to do this in order to feel cool and feel accepted by the vlog squad because of status, because of like how famous they were and all that stuff.
Right.
And Dom was basically telling this one girl, like, hey, you know, like basically like if you hang out with me, like you're going to get like 10,000 like followers on Instagram. And basically it ended up being in a situation where he kind of put her in a room and then kissed her with like lots of pressure, like basically kind of forcing her like, hey, like, oh my God, give me a kiss. And she didn't really want to, but in order to leave the room, she felt obligated to kiss him. How many times have you been put in that situation?
Oh, more times than you can imagine.
So have I. So I definitely related to exactly what she was saying. And she said that she said no on multiple occasions, but he never took no for an answer. I'll make sure I have plenty of time to say this. So basically in the video, they provided these girls with Jack Daniels. And then she ended up blacking out.
Weren't they all under 21 too? Or some of them?
the people that bought the alcohol were over the age of 21,
But the
girls were underage.
Yeah.
And only one of them was sober. So it was like 5 girls, only one of them was sober. So that was 4 girls that were completely intoxicated. And so basically she blacked out, and she was saying that she was lying limp on the bed when basically they initiated this. Basically the sexual interaction happened. So basically Dawn went into the room with the girl, Hannah is her name, into the room while she was basically limp on the bed, and another girl, I cannot remember her name, but basically when it was described that she was just limped on the bed, she was like not coherent whatsoever. Like she couldn't even put her clothes on, is what she said in quote. And her friend literally quoted, "I remember you were starting to close your eyes and you were obviously so drunk, so I finished him off to get him away from you."
The fact,
so
I mean, it's really hard hearing that, because it's like, if I would like to believe that if that was me in the situation, or like if it was my friend that was happening to, I would have found the closest object that I could have hit over his head and beat the shit out of him with it. Like, I would have fought these people, because that is not okay. I mean, for anyone that knows too, like, I've not been drinking, so like I probably would have been the sober friend there. But if it was me in those people's shoes, so it's like, I would have beat the I would have tried to beat the shit out of these guys, or I would have done something.
Right.
And it's like, I say that, but then obviously being in the situation, it's a whole different scenario, but that's fucking disgusting.
Well, right, but it gets worse. So while he's basically like having sexual like intercourse or whatever was transpiring sexually between Dom and these 2 girls, all the members from the vlog squad were peeking in from the door, like coming in, peeking in. And you could see it being filmed. And what was the one thing that they said? Basically, at the end of the video, they're all sitting in the car, and it was all the guys from the vlog squad. And David Dobrik was caught saying, "Dom just had a threesome, and I think we're all going to jail," jokingly. So they all knew what they did was wrong.
Yeah.
And now, like, when she talks about it, she says that she experienced panic attacks. And if she's drinking, she automatically starts crying uncontrollably, because she felt like she was totally taken advantage of, but she felt like she couldn't come forward because, like these guys were famous. These guys had clout. These guys had all that stuff. So they were just... Because
at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's like, we have to think about, well, it's our word over theirs. So it's is this actually going to happen?
But I wrote down, like, the California Penal Code. So rape is an act of sexual intercourse accomplished with a person, not the spouse of the perpetrator, where a person is prevented from resisting by any intoxicating or... Damn, I have bad handwriting. Or I don't even know what that word is. Or any controlled substance, and this condition was known or reasonably should have been known by the accused. So, like,
basically,
it's rape because she was intoxicated. She was not coherent enough to make it. She couldn't even put her clothes on. Yeah. And this guy literally was like, "Yeah, fucking, I don't want to have a threesome," for a fucking video. And now this girl, like, has trauma. But this goes back to, like, Governor Abbott. So now we're going to have a guy tell us that, like, what we, like, can do with our bodies. But usually it's men. There's a thing going on virally. I think we have, like, a minute before I have to press the button. But there's this video going around on TikTok, viral, about an all-girls, like, gym. Mm-hmm. And every girl that goes in there is, like, literally praising it. Like, "Oh, my God, finally I can go to a gym. I feel safe. I don't have to worry about, like, who's
people
checking
staring
me out."
at you. Yeah.
But now all these guys are saying, "That's sexist. Like, you can't do that, blah, blah, blah." And it's like...
Actually, we can.
Yeah, because one of my biggest dreams is to be able to go running late at night, listening to my music, without the fear of someone, like, literally coming behind me and hurting me or raping me or trying to kill me.
Kidnapping, yeah. I mean, I don't even, like, as much as I would love to go running.
I'm going to go press this button real quick.
Okay, as much as I would love to go running, I don't even bother even thinking about that kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, what's the point, you know? But, no, I mean, it's just, there's such a bigger issue with this, I don't know if it's a bill. I don't know what the proper term is. So, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but this thing that is being passed that it's apparently supposed to be like it starts in September is so humanly wrong. I am literally disgusted not only with Governor Abbott and the state of Texas, because ultimately it's only Texas. It's not the United States. It's literally fucking Texas. And everyone else that had any kind of fucking say of that. There was someone posted something on Instagram the other day or yesterday about this, and it was like a group of people with like smiling and taking a photo, and there was women in the photo for this bill. And I'm like, what a fucking shame that there's women. I mean, and I want to sit there and I want to believe, well, maybe, you know, they're the women that have to put on a smile on their face and act like they're a part of this because they, you know, again, like being in a male-dominated field, like politics is a male-dominated field. The presidency, like, you know, has there been a female president? No. Like, have there been female governors? Yeah, but not a lot. You know, like, so I want to believe that, like, these women aren't standing behind this, like, wholeheartedly. But, like, what? I just don't understand.
Disappointing.
I don't understand. Not one man, no man, whoever decided this, not one man should have been on that fucking board. Not one man should have had a fucking vote. You want to know why? Because they can't have fucking children.
No. They don't get to.
They don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know the mental, the emotional, or the physical, like anything that happens to a woman's body. Our hormones change. Our mentality changes. Our body changes. You don't know what that feels like. I don't give a fuck if you have a wife, sister, mother, and you watch them be pregnant. You do not understand what that feels like as a man, and you never fucking will. So for you to sit here and tell me that I can't have an abortion when I'm an adult, I have fucking rights, and I pay taxes, fuck you.
I'm going to look it up. Does Governor Abbott have children?
I don't know. I'm convinced that if he seems to think that rape and incest are no exception, that he fucking rapes little boys. So fuck him.
Funny. Governor Abbott has a daughter, and her name is Audrey Abbott.
I feel bad for her.
So because
her dad's a piece of shit.
So if Audrey got raped, you mean to tell me he's going to allow her to have that baby?
You know, honestly, I would
when it comes to your own child, I bet he would change his goddamn mind.
Oh, I'm sure.
But fuck us, right? Fuck us.
Fuck everybody else.
Okay, let me tell this story, and you can give me your opinion. I also wrote this down. This is a story of Christine Engelhart. Christine Engelhart was 24 years old when she was given the green pill and then took back to her hotel room where Ivory Collier, 21, and Dorian Taylor, 24, raped Christine before stealing and using her phone, cash, credit cards, while her naked body was left on the bed in a hotel room in Miami.
Wow.
She went to Miami for spring break on her own. She wanted to experience what spring break was like, and so she decided that she was going to save up her money and go by herself. 3 years prior, she wrote a chilling Facebook post saying, "Be alert," as like a warning to women to trust their gut instinct if they ever felt in a situation that something wasn't right. She was prompted to write it after encountering a man behaving suspiciously at Tyler State Park when she was just out running. So she was already trusting her gut instinct, but she was given a green pill, so she couldn't really like form anything. And two guys, not a girl, not a woman, two males just left her naked while they just took her shit. Like as she was nothing. Like if she wasn't someone's daughter, wasn't someone's friend.
It's frustrating because I will tell this story, but I won't say who because it's not my place to say their names. But one of my very best friends, he's a male, he was married and him and his wife were out partying and they were both drugged and these guys raped his wife basically in front of him in the same house. And he was drugged, so he couldn't do anything. He had to listen to his wife scream for him while he was fucked up and couldn't move, basically, because they had drugged both of them. It ruined their marriage. They ended up getting a divorce. And for other reasons, too. But, like, that was something that always lingered in their relationship. Because she called his name and was screaming it, like, When he told me this story, I was so heartbroken because I'm like, could you imagine laying there screaming for your husband knowing he's in the other room, but him being drugged and not being able to come save you?
Or not even knowing that he's drugged.
Like, people are fucking assholes. And I'm thank God, like, she didn't end up getting pregnant from that situation or having to be put in that. But even still, like, it's just amazing what people think is okay to do to get their way, to get something to satisfy them.
Right. All right. Well, I'm going to tell about my own personal experience with sexual assault. I've had a lot of therapy. I'm fine. But I think that it's a story that I'd like to share because maybe there are other people that can relate. So when I had moved back to Tucson after all the shebang that happened between me and my ex, I was in a very, like, not in a good headspace. I was very manic. I was just very depressed, blah, blah, blah. But I used to seek self-worth through men. So I downloaded that app, Bumble. So when I downloaded that app, Bumble, I went on a couple dates with a couple guys, and like I started feeling good. Basically, I was just looking for a drinking partner because I was so deep into alcohol, and I was just looking for someone that'll give me attention and hang out with me. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up meeting this guy, and we ended up hitting it off, but basically, like, he, like, caught feelings really quickly. And we ended up going back to his house, and we were just drinking heavily, that we had consensual sex. I ended up falling asleep in his bed, and I wake up in the middle of the night with him literally penetrating me. I didn't say anything. I didn't move anything. I just kind of looked and stared at this wall and just watched, and well, not watch, but I just felt him just penetrating me. And all I could feel was numb. And all I could feel were the tears that were streaming down my face going like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know it was like rape, essentially, if that's what you want to call it. I didn't know it was rape. I was just kind of like, felt like a piece of meat. I just felt like I was taking advantage of.
People would say that because you had already slept with him when you were in his bed that it made it okay, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
And that's what I told myself for a very, very long time. I was just like, well, I mean, I did have sex with him, so, like, maybe he thought that this was okay. But, like, I literally woke up from a dead sleep to him penetrating me, and I just started crying. But it wasn't, like, a heavy cry. It was just, I was sideways, and I just felt all the tears just streaming down my face. And then I stayed awake. He fell back asleep, and I stayed awake. And as soon as, like, the sun was able to come up, I just got up and left. And I kind of just always ignored him ever since. But, like, I still had, like, I'd still text him here and there and blah, blah, blah. And I felt disgusted. I felt like I didn't want to talk to this guy because it was just like, okay, well, now he only wants me for one thing. Like, I'm only just one thing to him.
Yeah.
But I was just, and then that caused me to drink more. Because that just put me in a self-worth that I was just like, man, like, I think I really am that, like, unlovable, and I really am just what people seeked out to be.
I think what people don't realize is that when you're not in the mood, even if you have a boyfriend or a partner, and you're not in the mood to have sex, and they force you, and they make you feel shitty, and they're like, well, come on, like, I want to fuck, so why don't you want to fuck me? And they put you into a point where you feel like you have to do it to please them. That's essentially a form of rape. I'm telling you no. I'm telling you I don't want to have sex right now. And you are basically forcing me and making me feel like a shitty person just to have sex with you because you want to have sex. Just because you're my boyfriend or my girlfriend or whoever does not make that okay. And I think that people don't realize that because it's like, if I tell you no, I don't care if I know you or I don't know you. I'm telling you no. I don't want to have sex. So when you force yourself on me or you make me feel bad about it to the point where I feel so pressured that I have to, now I'm uncomfortable. It's not enjoyable for me. It is not consensual. I'm doing it to please you.
Well, he didn't even ask.
Well, but that's my point is like...
It's wrong.
It's not okay.
Like, we're human beings and we all have feelings and we all have emotions. And we all have boundaries. And you need to ask if you can, like, cross those boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, hey, are you in the mood? Like, do you want to have consensual sex? You don't have to say it like that, but, like, Even if I just say no.
If it's more or less that, like, I dated this guy. We didn't date for very long, but he was very aggressive. And anytime that I would, like, if he would try to initiate sex and I would, like, say no, or I wasn't in the mood, or I was tired, it was almost like he would just pull my pants down and fuck me. Like, it didn't matter. He didn't care. It was just like, oh, I don't care how you're feeling right now. We're going to have sex. And, like, I was young. I was, like, 19, 20 years old. It was how old was I? I don't know. It was before I dated the father of my child. So, I mean, I was like 18, 19 then maybe. I didn't know any better, but, like, looking back now and, like, as I've gotten older, it's like definitely not how a relationship is supposed to be. And that was supposed to be my boyfriend, at the time. So it's like, I'm telling you that I don't want to have sex and you're, like, forcing me to have sex with you. This is not, like, this doesn't feel good. Like, it doesn't feel good emotionally and it doesn't feel good physically.
Yeah. In college, I was put in a lot of situations where, like, I was just intoxicated, and in a bid to just, like, not be, what was the word that they used to use? I don't even remember the term they used, but basically how I took it, it was like, oh, come on, don't be lame, or don't be a party, like, pooper or whatever, to pressure me into doing, or like to just basically do things that I didn't want to do. Like, like in college, I was also drugged. I was drugged at a frat house. Luckily, at the time, I had a boyfriend, but, like, I don't remember anything. All I had was half a cup of beer, and I blacked out. And I just remember just being really aggressive and violent towards my boyfriend at the time. It's just, like, we're women, as women, we all have a freaking story. So even these women that, like, were standing right next to Governor Abbott, I know for a fact that they have a story.
Oh, for sure.
So to stand there and just allow that, okay, so I know for a fact, if Governor Abbott's daughter got raped and had a baby, he would give her the option to have an abortion.
Oh, I'm sure.
But
he'd probably drive her out of state to have it done.
Or pull some strings because it's just money and power and white supremacy.
I think the moral of my point for that is, like, obviously it's already done. So now it's like, what preventative measures as women can we provide for other women? Because I hate how emotional it instantly makes me. It's like, I couldn't imagine now being 32, getting pregnant and not having a choice. I am nowhere near ready to have another child right now. Like, I have so much that I'm trying to do and accomplish, and I'm trying to do this now because I didn't have the opportunity to do it when I was in my 20s, because I had a baby and I thought I was an adult and I fucking wasn't. Like, I'm trying to make something of myself now for my daughter. I've made it very clear to any man that has come into my life, like, hey, look, like, yes, I would love to have more children. However, I do not want to be put in the same situation that I was in with my daughter, and I will make sure that I'm married or in a better financial situation before that happens. Because if I was to have a child now, I hate saying it this way, but it would literally fucking ruin everything. Because I know what it takes to raise a child. And yes, I can fucking do it. I know I can do it. I've done it. But I'd have to stop. I'd have to stop a lot of things, and it would set me back more than I already have been set back. Because, and again, like, I hate that maybe it's just me that is feeling like it sounds terrible, because I don't want anyone to think that, like, I blame my daughter for, like, not getting things done. But, like, I had to do what I had to do. I love her, and I'm doing everything now for her. But, at the time when you're trying to raise a child by yourself, like, literally raising a child is a full-time job. As well as having a full-time job. So it's like you're having 2 full-time jobs. It's a lot. So it's like, it's only, I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but it's only common to know that, like, everything that I'm doing now, I wouldn't be able to do all of these things while having a newborn. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to. I'd have to let some things go.
For me, I don't even know if I want children. And that's not because I don't love kids. I love kids. I think kids are beautiful.
Well, that's another point, is the amount of women that know for a fact that they do not want to have children at all. Well, guess what's not allowed for a woman? You can't go have, actually, I don't know if you
get your tubes
I
tied?
don't think you can. Actually, I could be wrong. I know. My point is that it's a lot harder for a woman to like go through the procedure of not having children, like being able to not have children, which I don't know if you know this, but having your tubes tied is not 100% foolproof method of not having a child, by the way. People have gotten pregnant even with their tubes being tied.
So why can't guys get vasectomies?
Exactly.
Isn't it like reversible? It's
less invasive and it is reversible.
Okay.
Now, obviously, there are side effects, and there are going to be circumstances where, you know, it can potentially cause a man to not want to have children. But at the end of the day, freeze some sperm, bro. Get a vasectomy, and then when you are ready to have children, have it reversed. If you can't, then you've got your frozen sperm. It's a lot easier to insert sperm into a woman's egg than it is for a woman to have to undergo the whole procedure of tying her tubes.
Right. Well, because like I said, I don't even know if I want children. And it's not because, like I said, it's not because I like don't like children or hate them or anything like that. It's just personally for me, I know, like, it's not that I can't provide for a kid. I would figure it out.
Yeah,
if I was put in a situation and I wanted to have a kid. If I was to have a kid right now, I'll be honest, I'll have an abortion. Whether people agree with it or not, that is my choice.
Yeah.
I don't care if Governor Abbott says that I can't have an abortion. I am smart and I will find a way.
That's the thing is people are going to find a way.
Right, I would find a way. But the thing is that I wouldn't want to bring a child into this world until I am mentally ready to. Because I had 2 parents that weren't mentally ready to have a kid. And I know from personal experience what it's like to feel like a burden, what it's like to feel unwanted, what it's like to feel unloved.
Well,
and I would never, ever want to do that to my children.
Well, and that's just it, is that if we were to pull up some statistics, however we could find them, the amount of children that are already brought into this world with parents who are not ready. And now you're going to force people to have children who aren't ready. You are basically forcing people to have babies who know they're not ready. Mm-mm. I could go on for hours about this topic because it really does. Obviously, me being a mother, having been a single parent, like having to go through all of that. And like I said, my mom was there to help me. My sister was there to help me. You know, Sage's dad, he eventually came around and helped. So like it was, you know, I had the help that I needed,
right? But
it was still really hard.
See, that's the thing. If I have kids, I have nobody to help me.
And especially now, if I was to have a child, I live in a state away from all of my family. Right. I would have no one.
Yeah. My mom, I would have to move back home. And I don't want to move back home.
I know. Could you imagine 32 years old moving back home with your family because you have a child that you can't get an abortion because the governor told you couldn't have one?
Right. My mom would help me, but her way of helping is not what I would want.
No.
And no disrespect to my own mother. It's just my mother is not an emotionally person, and I don't want to ever have to leave my child with someone that has old school methods. Because, like, I'll be honest, my mom used to beat the shit out of me. Mm-hmm. She just constantly yell at me. Like, everything I did was wrong. Like, she'd be like, Maria Esther, get the... That shit traumatized me. Like, now I've developed people-pleasing skills. Like, I'm constantly, like, very, like, making sure everyone's okay. I've become this huge empath. And my dad is 84 and he's in a home. So there's no way that my parents can help me. And God knows I would never ask my siblings to help me because I'm not even close with them. So I have 0 people to help me other than maybe you and Taylor. But even then, like, you got your own shit. But, like, I mean, probably just Taylor.
Well, at the end of the day, though, that's not the point. Is like, it really just comes down to, like, having the choice ripped away from me is not fair. No. It's not fair. No. And so I should be allowed to choose. I'm so thankful that I was allowed to choose when I had Sage, because I'm not going to sit here and lie to anyone and say that I wasn't the type of person when I was 21, 22, 23. It's funny because I always look back, and again, we've talked about this on several other episodes. Like, I felt that all I knew that I was made for when I was younger was to graduate school, get a good job, have a family, and raise kids. And I've always said that I wanted like 3 or 4 kids because there was 3 of us. Like I've always wanted lots of children. Not a lot, 4 max, 3 mainly was where I was aiming for. And that after I had one, I was like, fuck that, never having any more, blah, blah, blah. And then as I've gotten older and like, I'm like, okay, well, I could definitely see myself having like 2, maybe 3, just depends. I would like to have it with the same person. You know, that'd be ideal. I totally forgot where my point was going with this.
Well, basically what you were saying was like how this was like what you were structured to think was like get married, have kids, like go on. But then once you actually were put in that situation,
oh
it's
yeah,
just
my views changed for sure. And I don't think that, I think, my point was like having the choice to have Sage. So back when I had her, I did not believe in abortion. And it was just mainly because the way I was raised Catholic, Christian, you know, like in my family, it was like you laid in the bed that you made. So like you need to
deal with
suffer the consequences kind of thing. And at the same time too, like the word abortion is scary. It's fucking scary. Like
we can use smushmortion.
Smushmortion. What is that from?
It's from Superbad.
Yeah.
No. Knocked Up.
Okay, yeah, smushmortion. But I mean, mind you, at that time, my best friend since the 1st grade had a child at 16. So I watched her go through that. So I was like, okay, well, if she can do it, then I can do it, right? But then I also had another friend who I drove to the abortion clinic once for her because she got pregnant from an abusive ex-boyfriend and didn't want to have the baby because she didn't want to bring a baby into that situation, which fucking I don't blame her. And, she stayed at my house. I took care of her. And then we went about life, you know? So it's like, and then she ended up having a baby a few years later with somebody else. So like, you know, I think that us having the choice to decide when we are ready to have children is important. She wasn't ready to have a child yet. And then a few years later, she decided that she was ready. You know, if you think right off the bat that you're ready to have a baby, then great. I thought I was ready. I know now that I'm fucking not. You know, I learned really fucking quickly.
Yeah.
But I also know, like, I know that when the time does come and I get pregnant and I'm in the right situation, I will have that baby. But, like, you can't take away my fucking right, bro. That's not fair. That's not fair.
It's not fair because
we're the ones missing work. We're the ones losing out on money. We're the ones having to stop our lives. We're the ones having to alter our body. We're the ones having to go through all the fucking pain and suffering. You're fucking not. Fuck you for thinking that you have the right to do that to us.
What, all you do is get the last name and that's your entitlement because that's your part?
You fucking nutted inside of us, got us pregnant. You don't have to go through any of the bullshit. You have to hold our hand maybe while we have the baby if you decide to fucking show up. And then what? That's it?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to make this a man-hating thing, but by no means is it. And I know that people don't agree with this, and that's fine. You are entitled to your own opinion. However, you are not entitled to my opinion, and you are not entitled to my choice. And that is not fucking fair. And I'm sure we have several fucking listeners out there who can agree with us. And I'm sure there are several listeners who have had abortions. And then my mother had 2 abortions before she had me. 2. Because she wasn't ready to have children.
Yeah.
Why, so, like, my mom is 64, 63, right. 63. So you're telling me when she was 16, 17 years old, abortion was okay, and now all of a sudden it's 2021 and you want to fucking take it away from us?
Yeah.
I can't wrap my mind around it. Somebody make it make sense.
Well, I know that my dad and I, him being very old school, him and I have gotten in many, 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 many arguments about pro-choice. He is very pro-choice. He does not believe in abortion. He's told me multiple times that if I was to have a kid and I got it aborted, that he would disown.
He's pro-life.
Pro-life.
Pro-choice is what we are.
Oh,
pro-life
whoops.
is
Thank you
baby.
for correcting me because I didn't want to give that wrong impression.
Yeah.
But basically he told me that if I ever got an abortion that he would disown me. And I told him, I was like, well, why would I bring a child into this world if I'm not ready? And he used to be like, that baby has a brain and that baby gets to say and what happens into this life. And I'm like, okay, let me put it to you in a different perspective. I was like, you and my mom were not ready to have a kid. You were 60 years old and my mom was in her 30s when you guys decided to have me. My mom does not speak English. She only speaks Spanish and you speak English. And you kept me a secret for 8 years from my dad's side of the or from your side of the family. And do you know how fucking traumatizing that is for a kid? Do you know what I had to deal with? Do you know what kind of like mental health that I had to go through to deal with that?
Here's another perspective for you.
So,
you know what else has a brain? A fucking cow. When you shoot it as a full adult to cut it up and eat it. You know what else has a fucking another brain? A fucking deer. Yeah. A pig. What? Just because they can't speak our language, that makes it okay? Like, you want to talk about pro-life? Oh, well, I'm sorry. It is literally organs. It's literally vein. It's like, I get it. It has a brain. Trust me, I grew one inside of me. But at the same time, like, it's this big. Like, I hate to say this because it sounds so, like, emotionless, but it's not going to know what, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to make it make sense, like, without coming across like an asshole, but.
Right. Well, I've gotten arguments about it with my dad, and I'm like, look, dude, like, I love you, but you have no idea what I went through psychologically with all this, because.
On top of he's not a woman.
No, and I'm like, so I don't agree that you get to have a say in what I do and what I don't. And if I got pregnant right now, I'm sorry, and maybe this isn't something that you want your daughter to say, but I would get an abortion, because I'm not going to bring a child into this world and have to suffer the same shit that I went through. Because up until I was 27, which was last year, I hated myself. I hated my life. I hated that I was brought into this world because two people were not ready to have a child. Yep. And then I had to pay for the therapist. I had to figure out how to find happiness into this world. And now I have to make a change. And it starts with this. Like, I'm not going to let Governor Abbott fucking think that it's okay to fucking make a choice for a woman's body, because I know if his daughter got pregnant right now by a rapist, he would find a way for her to have an abortion.
I have a question for our listeners. I have a really important question. If Esther and I were to put together a woman's protest against this, would you guys do it with us? Whether you leave a comment, you reach out to us personally, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, text messaging, whatever. I am curious to know if you would want to be a part of this. Because ideally, I'll stand on the street by my fucking self. I don't care. Would I love to have a group of women who agree with me on this? Abso-fucking-lutely. So I'm curious to know if you guys would like to join us on something like that, because we can put it together.
I think we should. Fuck it. If we get 5
I mean, we're going to, yeah.
Okay, yeah, like if I get 5 people to do it with me, then I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I'm down.
Actually, I'm going to do it regardless. Even if it's just you and I up and down 6th Street. I will stand
on the street. I don't care. This is just.
It's my right. It's my body.
It is my right. And whether it makes a difference or not, it makes a difference to me. And it matters that I'm standing up for something that I wholeheartedly believe in. And it's funny because I was never someone that was super outspoken growing up. And I would be like, oh my God, I'd never do that. Like, even whether I agreed or disagreed, oh my God, I'd never do that. Well, fuck that. Like, how dare you try to, you think you have a right to take away something that belongs to me? Well, guess what? I'm going to let you know how I feel about it. Like, it's funny because I posted yesterday on my Instagram, I literally tagged Abbott. I was like, fuck you. I was like, you are a disgusting piece of an excuse for a human. Because how dare you think that you can take my rights away from me? How dare you think that? Like, no, absolutely not.
I'm going to get shirts made that say, would you let this happen to you if it was your own daughter?
Yeah.
Because I know that he wouldn't. And I would love to hear what his daughter would have to say.
Oh, I
bet it'd be scripted.
I'm sure that her poor Instagram
is being flooded.
I'm sure she's being, like, attacked verbally somehow. Because, there are people out there that automatically, like, will go to her, how do you feel about your father? And, like, yes, I would love to ask you that question. At the same time, though, like, she doesn't have a say in the bill. She doesn't have a say. She's not sitting on the board of the members of whoever get to decide this shit.
I forget how old. Let me look at
She was born. She was, does it say how old she is?
I'm about to click on her. She is 24.
Yeah. So I'm sure she has her own opinions. Whether she feels comfortable enough to speak them out loud or not is a different story. But I don't know. I know that we've been talking forever, guys. This is obviously a super like heartfelt topic that we could go on about forever. You know, we started this 97% thing and we are going to continue with it. So please keep your eye out for that because it's not ever going to stop, for one. But we definitely, it's something that we believe in, as well as this pro-choice, because fuck y'all. And if you do think that you would want to be a part of something, if we decided to do a little protest for this, please let us know, reach out to us, because we're going to do it. We're going to plan it and we're going to do it. So let me know, let Esther know. Make sure that you subscribe.
My Apple Watch says breathe.
I am breathing. Okay. Don't yell at me.
Okay, I just wanted to remind you that. Please let us know if you want to join our protest.
Yes.
Sorry to
But make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, because we are videoing all of our episodes now. And then stay tuned every Monday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time for new episodes. We do apologize for this last Monday not having one out for you guys. Our little
roadcaster ate the SIM card.
He was hungry.
It's in there. Like, I cannot get it out. I took it over to Geek Squad and they said that they refused to try to take it out because of the wiring. So we do have the YouTube video, which we may release on Halloween as a lost episode, but we'll see.
Stay tuned. You'll never know. Who knows?
All right. And I'm going to say that's a wrap.
We love you guys. See you later.